Hi there. I'm Smita Murthy, Managing Partner at Opencliff Partners. We're a product advisory and consulting firm. We provide product advisory and enable value creation throughout the product lifecycle for technology and tech-based startups. We partner with investors and boards, founders and CEOs, product leaders, and individuals, meeting them where they're at in the value creation process. This podcast series focuses on cross-functional perspectives on what it takes to build successful products across different domains, different verticals. I interview leaders from various functions with whom I worked with to build and launch great products and the lessons we learned along the way. Today, I'm super excited to host Lynn Persson. Lynn and I work together at Axtria, but let me give you a little bit more of a background about Lynn. Lynn has over 20 years experience in commercial operations, working in pretty much all the key names in the industry at Innovex, Quintiles, IQVIA, KMK Consulting, Axtria, and now at Viva. Her expertise is in territory design. I can tell you that she knows this really, really well. Segmentation and targeting, call planning, incentive compensation, life sciences data, and of course, Viva CRM. She has created over 200 field force alignments, focusing on the biopharma, medical, medtech, and animal health spaces. She's currently responsible for Viva Align Plus. Lynn, I'm so excited to host you on this podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. This is going to be fun.
We're going to have a blast, right? So first of all, thanks to those audiences who will tune in, maybe listen to this as a recording. I appreciate your time, Lynn. We're going to just talk about a whole bunch of things related to products and our work together and what you're doing now. And maybe we can share with our audience a little bit about the life sciences industry and so on as we go. But before all of that, what is the one fun fact you want to share with our audience about you?
Well, you know how you go to school and you get your degree in something and then you work in a whole nother different industry? Not me. My fun fact is I graduated with a degree in environmental geography and cartography, and I'm still using the entire degree.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
I'm on the environmental committee in my hometown. And then for the geography part of it, the cartography, which is map making, I'm working on this software that allows us to design territories for the field. And these sales reps go out and sell different pharmaceutical products and other life science products out there, medical, tech, everything. And these are products that are going to be out there that help patients. So that's what excites me about the whole thing. And I'm still using my degree, which is kind of weird, right?
It is very special. I think
Yeah.
it's very unique and special that you're using the degree that you went to college for all these years, which
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, talk about a return on investment of that college degree, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing something that I love, and I think that's important too.
Absolutely. And I know you're excellent at it. So I'm
Yeah.
happy that we got to spend that time. I know we had some great conversations about the product we both worked on, and
Mhm.
your insights and your feedback was extremely valuable.
Oh, thank you.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Tell
Sure.
me about your role, your function when we worked together.
Yeah.
And
Well,
tell me what you remember most about that interaction.
sure. Yeah. So I actually had two roles. One was working with you and the other team members, but the first thing that I did was I managed our territory design consulting group. So we would create territories for our customers and work with them to get the best solutions for what they need. But what I focused on with you was I was to add value to a small portion, the geographic portion of
Mhm.
our company software, and that was related to territory design. So I, besides going out for Indian food, which is something I loved when we would go do that,
Yes.
that's just, that's something that was our fun little thing. But seriously, we worked together to better the product, and the whole team, the engagement was fantastic. Let's talk about this idea here. This is a new feature that we could add, and where does it fit into the whole schedule? What's the priority and everything like that? We would just, we were, I was realistic, right? That there was several different portions to the software, right? Maybe there was 6 different modules, and I was working on one of the 6 modules. So it was all about that back and forth and everything, and it was just, a lot of nice respect and everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was also going to mention our little like lunch dates to the nearby Indian restaurant, the buffet that we both
Mm,
were like, oh, we really shouldn't be eating this much for lunch, but then we ate it anyway because we had all those wonderful conversations to
yeah.
catch up on. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think it's a real blessing. And when I look back, it's a real blessing if you worked in a place where your work colleagues become your friends,
Mm,
and you can tap on them no matter how many years have passed by. And I think actually one of the things that this podcast series has allowed me to do is actually reach out to people. And I've hosted some guests who I've known pretty much my whole career, like from my first job, maybe the second job. So it's really nice when you can reflect on that. It speaks a lot to the culture of the company, that it provides an environment where it's collegial, and you're able to make friends. So
yeah, definitely. A lot of nice people there at Axtria.
yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about products. Tell
Sure.
me tell me about, obviously you worked on a lot of B2B products.
Uh-huh.
So tell me about a B2B product that you're especially fond of, that you helped either build, sell, implement at a
Yep.
customer site, whatever, and why it was special.
Yeah, I'll tell you about my current product. I mean, this is a dream job. I'm currently working on updating my favorite territory design product, and it's been around for a long time. It has a lot of features and everything. So I actually am working on the product. I'm adding working with a team, an amazing team. Let's add this feature. Let's add that. But I'm more on the strategy, the sales side. So I do say, hey, I'm a user too, right? So I'm able to say, hey, can you make this little tweak, or hey, I got an idea about this new feature and everything. And then I can also go out and help our account partners sell the product. But what I love to do is listen to the needs of our customers and being able to solve issues for them. So this little dichotomy going on there, it's really nice. And this territory design product is special because maybe some people aren't necessarily familiar with it, but yeah, it's a geographic mapping system and everything. But it's important because what you're doing is you're setting the foundational files up for these field teams that are going to go out and ultimately help patients. And you take these foundational files, we call them zip to tear. This zip code belongs to this
This
territory.
territory. Yep.
Yeah. And it goes right into SaaS products like CRM and other softwares out there that need to know which zip codes belong to which territories and everything. So yeah, that this one's pretty great. Can't complain.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, actually, I'm going to ask you one of the questions I was thinking of for later, but I think it's related
Yeah.
to what you're doing. Um, One of the things, if you remember,
Mhm.
we were talking about, especially when COVID happened,
Uh,
and our traditional way in which we did segmentation and targeting, territory alignment, and
yep.
all the rest of the downstream processes, that kind of when it got spun on its head,
Yeah.
because we were creating all these territories for sales reps to do that direct in-person interaction
Yep.
with the doctors and hospitals, and that just kind of went from all over here to zero for a little while. And if you remember, we created the multi-channel call planning, which
Mm-hmm.
tapped on the non-personal channel and so on. But
Yep.
my question is really around, um, with AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is territory alignment, territory design, how
Yep.
is that changing? Are you doing something different with territory alignment with the advent of AI? And do you think we'll ever go, and related, do you think we'll ever go to a point now with this multi-channel ways in which reps can interact with the doctors? Will we go to a territory less selling commercial operations system?
You know, one thing I had mentioned to you, because we live close to one another, I said, hey, do you want me to just come over and we'll do it in person together? Because that's, to
Yeah.
me, always the best way of selling. So no, I think there is a need for that personal touch, that face to face in person. But
Hmm.
what we have been looking at, um, we have different thought leadership and everything is, hey, can you do a combination? And this is really important for those areas that sometimes get underserved. There's a term that we use in the industry called unassigned. And let me give you an example of what that is. The unassigned areas could be Montana, North and South Dakota, Wyoming. Some people call it the flyover states, but there are definitely there's patients out there with a need and the doctors that serve them. And one of the things that we have been exploring with some of our customers is, hey, do you want to do a personal call, maybe 3-4 times a year, right? If there's a 12 once a month call cycle, call it, maybe you do 4 of them in person. You spend the money and you go out there, and then the other times you meet with the doctor virtually. And there's
Mhm.
the technology and the tools to do that. And there's a way that you can take that uh, thought and apply it to territory design. So we have some thought leadership on that. But um, I don't know if you have any questions right there, but getting back to some of the other things for specifically for the territory design products that exist today, um, I can only say that we are looking into this and we have some ideas. And we certainly see how it can add value to the products. But for right now, our customers out there, they need to really be careful to say, hey, is this really AI and not some fancy algorithm, right?
Mhm.
There's definitely ways that, I mean, our product, just to be honest with you, we use an algorithm to, if we want to do some automatic territory design. But
Yep.
there's also benefits, and the algorithm can get you so far, but sometimes it's just easier to hand carve too, right? To use the human intuition and have multiple different inputs. It
Yep.
really just depends. AI can help so much at this point, from what I see, but you still need that person to design the territories. I think you still need that person to go out and bring the drugs and bring the information to the doctors. There's when I don't know if you've ever ridden with a sales rep or anything like that. When you
Yep.
go to the office, the doctor's office, there's other people to talk to
Yeah.
when you're on that call. It's sometimes we call it, the term is total office call. You speak to everybody, including the receptionist, because all of these people see something, especially now where we have so many different drugs with rare disease and people present like a different type of walk. They call it the different gaits and things like that. That receptionist might remember, hey, no, that person walked with this kind of a I guess you'd call it like a I don't know, a wobble or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And everybody becomes important when helping the patient out. So that's a couple different answers right there. But did I capture everything? Is there anything else that you were looking for?
No, 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 absolutely. I think you did. Like the territory-less idea has swirled in my head as a product person,
Hmm.
in a couple of different roles, as you know, in the industry that I've been in. And it sort of seemed interesting during COVID, but I think post-pandemic, you're absolutely right. Um, you know, I just recently, just this morning, you may have seen the same post because it's a common mutual colleague of ours who posted this about, is omnichannel dead? Well, I think it's the same thing like when I heard, is SaaS dead? No, none of these things die. Sometimes it's old bottle, new wine, new bottle, old wine, right? So you're just, the concepts remain the same. There may be more better ways to do it, more
Yeah.
efficient ways to do it,
Yep.
and that is just like leveraging technology to solve a
Hmm.
real business problem
Yep.
in a better way,
Yep.
versus just saying, oh, I have to incorporate AI into this use case and force fitting a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that my company is starting to offer, actually, I shouldn't say starting, they've already started.
Yeah.
Um, we offer data, right? So different inputs to your software and everything like that. There's new sources out there in the pharmaceutical industry, life sciences industry. There's new data sources. My company is offering one of them, but that's true for any product. There's going
Mhm.
to be new things that pop up and that add more value or may force a new feature in your software.
Yes. Yes, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. And
Great. Yeah, go ahead.
it could be related to AI too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In actually a recent role, in a recent engagement I had, um, you know, I attended a session in New York City, where it was all about AI and how things are changing in the life sciences industry.
Hmm.
And, a theme I heard across a lot of what would be our clients, right, was, hey, yeah, AI, of course, it's helping me with composing an email, it's helping me with generating a baseline content that can
Yep.
now be MLR approved, like, right? And so that way you have approved content that a rep can dip into when they're making these calls,
Yeah, yeah. There's all
right?
kinds of that going on out there. Hmm.
Yeah. But at the same time, it doesn't replace what a human being is supposed to do, which is
No.
ensuring that it's medically accurate, legally approved, compliant with regulations.
Hmm.
It doesn't replace that. It automates it. It makes it, it gives a better starting point.
Yes, absolutely. Streamlines, makes things easier for sure. I mean, AI is just at its beginning. I'm excited by it, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of different things that it offers. And
Hmm.
then there's just that human component where we can analyze and we can see. We're actually there looking and seeing what's going on. But yeah, for my particular product, like I said, we are looking into it.
Hmm.
I can say the rest of my company is seriously looking and partnering and
Yeah.
doing a bunch of different things, right? There's a lot going on with that, and it's very, very interesting. But we'll get to it. I'm sure we'll incorporate some things, but yeah, it's the beginning steps of it, and you have to be mindful of it for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. So, in this world of territory alignment,
Mm,
and feel free to expand to all of commercial operations because I know you
yeah.
have experience across the board.
Oh yeah.
What are some key metrics you track to determine the success of the products?
Yeah, well, for my product, it's obviously it's real simple. It's the number of licenses that we sell. And but to me, the success is seeing how my customers work with the product and they work well. So I'm working on a certification program so they can, see benchmark themselves to see, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I need to do to get to the next different level. So that's some of the fun different things that there. But on the other side, because there's that dichotomy, hey, the new features that we're starting to offer, right? And people using those new features.
Yeah.
So
So usage metrics
yeah,
and number of licenses sold and
yeah,
penetration,
yeah, yeah,
essentially.
pretty basic, really.
Yeah, no, but those are key metrics. In fact, the other thing related to this I've been talking to people about is how does pricing for something like territory? So territory design is not an everyday occurrence, right? Like you're doing this on a less frequent basis, but you may tweak it on a quarterly basis or
Mhm.
whatever. So how do you use usage-based pricing
No,
for something like this?
no, we have a flat fee. And one thing I just want to point out when I actually train our software as well, I teach my customers that, yeah, you may think that territory design is like, oh, I do it once a quarter, all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. There are so many different things that you can do. We have a lot of versioning scenario planning where you could go in and you could try different things out before you finalize something. And that takes some time to do.
Hmm.
And the bigger the company, you're going to have a team that's doing that all the time. But what I tell people about our territory design software is you can also use it as an analytics tool as well.
Yeah.
So that's starting to evolve from that. I'm trying to get people to understand from that mindset. It's not just like once a quarter, once a month. You should be in it more often, right?
Yeah.
And our software is integrated into the Viva ecosystem. So there's all kinds of things that you can do without digging really, really deep and everything like that. But yeah, it's pretty incredible all of the different things that you can do with it now.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think that's actually very important, and it's a significant change from when we worked on the software together, where everyone's like, "Oh, no, 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 let's not prioritize this module because people
Mm-hmm.
barely use it." But guess what? It's a fundamental thing that is done
Mm-hmm.
before any sort of cycle begins for
Yep.
the field force,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, that's the unique thing about territory design software is it creates those foundational files that everybody needs in order to operate. So it happens in the very beginning when
Hmm.
a Salesforce is created. It happens 2 years before a product is gets its PDUFA date. Basically, the government says, "Hey, you can start selling a product," and there's a
Yeah.
whole plan for that. So people start planning 2 years ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
Because they need to go to their investors and say, "We think we need 70 territories," and then the investor comes back and says, "That's great, but I'm only going to give you money for 50." So you got to do all your proper planning and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's constantly for the whole life cycle of a product or a team. You're constantly using it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. So thinking back on all the different products that you worked on,
Hmm.
what is the biggest challenge you have faced, either working with the product itself or working with the product team? Um, and what would you do differently if you could have a do-over?
Yeah. Um, I I think about I think of two different things that's going on. One's a little bit different from what you're thinking of, but I think it's appropriate.
Sure.
One is working with the customers, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I mentioned I train our customers on the product. So one of the things one of our customers came back a while ago, they said, "Hey, you offer 2 days of training. We're really not interested in that. We're only interested in 1 day of training. That's all the time we can have." And that really wasn't successful because they came back to me many, many times after that, well, what about this and what about that? I'm like, we can self-study with the user manual and everything. That it wasn't a failure, it was just taking up more of both of our times,
Hmm.
right? So one of the suggestions I might have is, if you've got something going on and you really feel strongly about it, you need to really push back. The customer is always right, but then there's definitely taking your expertise and saying, hey, I had this thing happen before, and yeah, the customer is all right, but I really, really recommend that we do 2 days of training, that type of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
great
then
point.
I
Yeah.
can, another thing is I can think back early in my career. Um, I had a data vendor. So we require data in order for the territory design software to work. But this could also be applicable for any of the software that's out there, because you might need to get a data vendor for certain
Mhm.
things. Um, and we were doing our due diligence and we looked at the vendor and we did some testing in the United States and everything. And they're like, okay, that makes sense because we're going to use it mainly here. And then we had a project that was going to cover Italy, right? Different country. And we had assumed it was going to be fine, but the data quality in
Mm.
Italy was not the same. So, one of the things I might have done was, hey, yeah, you test your main country, but then you randomly select something else, don't they actually, the vendor thought that was perfect and that was fine, but that wasn't up to our expectations and what we were thinking about doing. And that was a miss. But that was when we were younger and didn't know or
You
didn't
didn't know
think
how to
about
respectfully push back. Right. Yeah. I think I want to highlight the key point you're making here, right, to our audience. And that is all of the field facing roles, including product management, our job is to represent the voice of the customer.
Mm,
Obviously, we're building products that a customer will use, will benefit from, that solves a business problem for them, which is how we get to keep them and they're happy and all of that. But at the same time, they're paying you all that money for product and services because you have deep expertise in something,
yep,
and you need to find a way in which you can respectfully share your expertise. For
yep,
example, like in the training example you gave,
yep,
saying, listen, 2 days is the minimum. I
yep,
know you don't have time. Maybe we schedule it for a time when you do have 2 days,
yep,
versus doing the one day and then you're going to keep coming back for a lot more, like, refreshers of some sort. um, and I think that's a key point.
yep,
And the second key point that you were making is just ensuring you're incorporating the voice of the customer, ensuring even like the feedback to the internal teams on quality, right?
yep,
Just
yep,
regression testing, just like how comprehensive is your test plan,
yep, yep,
and does it go through some sort of steering committee? This is like governance, right? This is stuff
yep,
that we do, and some companies do it really well, where you have a very structured test plan, many of which is automated, but many of which is still like require some tweaking depending on how features are changing. um, and just to make sure that's all green, green, green before you release the
yep.
product.
Especially when you're working with a vendor, right?
Yeah.
That
Third
last
party.
part of
Yeah.
it, the third party, yeah. I mean, it all turned out fine in the end, but we had to
Mm.
scramble a little bit, because we had deadlines and throw more resources at things a little
Yeah.
bit. But the customer never knew or anything like that. But it was just like, this isn't what we expected. Oh, this looks great, from the vendor standpoint. I'm like, no, it's not really that great. But yeah, that's something that you just want to do. And then, with the training example, the customer did admit, like, hey, it would have been easier to do 2 days. I'm like, good. Can I use you as a reference in the future? No, I was just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just know that it's not going to work out. Let's invest in ourselves that way.
Yeah, yeah,
So
no,
yeah,
great point. Great point.
yeah,
And I think the other point I want to draw from what you just said is for my product people who are going to listen to this podcast, when you think about product, it's not just bringing in the requirements and getting it built and that physical piece of software, but everything that goes with it, including training, including your services, including the sales team. So that's why this podcast is really like focused on, successful products being like a team sport,
yep,
right? Where product management is one part of that where the jugglers were balancing all the different parts, but at the same time, everything has to work together for it to be successful, including training, because that is
mhm,
adding to the overall customer experience.
yep,
And whether they'll stay with you or their propensity to switch is higher because they had a poor experience,
yep.
right? So thank you for that, Lynn. Really
Yeah,
useful.
yeah. Support is very important, right? Because if a customer doesn't feel like they're getting that understanding or anything like that, and they can, I tell my customers, hey, give me a call if you have a question. If it's going to be quick, that's fine.
Yeah.
We can also schedule some time too, and we do that. And I strategize with people. I throw out like free consulting hours all the time, but it helps out these customers, and ultimately, because we're in life sciences, it helps the patients. And that's part of the reason why I'm working in this industry.
Yeah.
It's, uh, people just, there's so many products I've been involved with helping launch and everything like that, and I don't directly get to help the patients, but indirectly I do, and
Yeah,
help a
absolutely.
lot of them. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Completely agree. So let's talk about a time we talked about your favorite product and one that you're currently working on.
yep,
Tell me about a time when you influenced the direction of a product that resulted in better outcomes.
yep. Well, I get to do that all the time now, so
Yay.
I'll just pick one for you.
Sure.
Um, we have several different work streams with our
Mhm.
product,
Mhm.
and this new feature that was out here that we were talking about, and I said, we really we need to just push this a little bit higher on the list. It created a brand new work stream.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah, it was so different and everything. Um, it was so important that it's helping the customer simplify things right now, and
Yep.
it's ultimately helping us sell more licenses. And the response from the customers has been great. It's super super important. So yeah, I was involved with that, and I said, time to bump it up. And yeah, it's not selling it itself, but people are like, oh, it does this. Wow,
That's cool. Let me
that's
explore that.
fantastic. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I don't
That's
want to get into the specifics of it, but
awesome.
it's also listening to the customer. It's also watching the trends in the industry, and that it was all related to that.
Great, great. Um, Before we pivot to another very important topic, which I know is close to both our hearts, are there any key trends you're tracking in the industry right now that you want to share with our audience as it relates to obviously life sciences?
Yeah, I mean, my product needs data. Um, it's script data. It's what the ICD-10 codes. It's like when you go into a doctor's office
Hmm.
and you complain about your elbow and you got a sinus infection at the same time. They put these codes in, and it says this code equals elbow, this one equals sinuses, right? Um, there's more and more data that's coming out there, and that is really fascinating because that's really really going to help the customers. So I think that trend in the availability of more data is really, really fantastic trend. Um, other things that my company is providing is integration between a lot of our different software. So
Mm-hmm.
it's when you bring the different softwares together, this is where that AI can come back in and kind of farm throughout a bunch of different systems and put something together,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like these are things. I mean, AI is always going to be a hot topic, but what was it called in the past too? Machine learning, all different kinds of things. It's coming. Is it all there yet? We have some vendors that we work with that are working towards that. We're looking into different things. So yeah, it's a hot topic and things are going to evolve. And gosh, I mean, if you look at a timeline as to when the computer came onto the scene and to where it's at these days, things are moving so quickly that when we're done with this podcast, something new is going to pop up in the news and it's going to make all this old, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really for me, from what I touch, is the data. The more data that's coming out there that
Yeah.
can ultimately help those patients. So
Absolutely. And there's never been a dearth of data in the life sciences space, nor in the healthcare space. It's how you leverage the data, how you ensure that the data ingestion happens in a well-defined way. The data quality is
mhm.
ensured.
Yep,
There's data lineage, so you know where the data source came from, because otherwise it's garbage in and garbage out on
yep,
all the analytics.
yep. AI is going to give us insights, right? And then we're going to go back and look at them, and then it's just going to keep. It's just I think it's just going to be amazing, for the industry that I'm in and looking at. It's going to hit big soon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if I don't know if you were there when we were doing this, but field intelligence is such a key
Oh,
portion of
yes.
what we do because essentially the field has to be equipped with the latest information, the
Yes.
latest approved information, so that they are most effective in positioning those drugs to the HCPs and
Yep.
HCOs so that those doctors can prescribe the medicine to the patient that needs it the most. At the end of the day, at the center of everything is the patient and the
Yep.
outcomes, the positive outcomes they can have.
Yeah.
So that I think your point about data
Mhm.
is so key,
Yeah.
and how you manage that data, the data management,
Mhm.
because the analytics and everything else you build on it for field intelligence or what have you
Right.
is where AI can really, really help. This
Yeah.
is a proven use case,
Yeah.
right? Where AI can truly help.
Yeah, there's and that's definitely a trend that's in the industry, right? Especially like using that rare disease example again, and that patient that's walking in with a wobbly gait or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, and I talked about the ICD-10 codes and everything like that. Our customers are saying if that person has the sinus and the elbow, which you didn't think would be related to one another, right?
Hmm.
That may come up as a trigger because those are symptoms, different weird
Yeah.
symptoms, but maybe it has to do with the cartilage in the elbow and I don't know, making stuff up. But those codes, when you get a combination of them from a specific patient, that those two or three codes as a combo come up as a hit, that data can go to the rep and basically they can say, hey, go visit this doctor because they recently had a patient that came in with this and this symptoms, and that could be related to this rare disease for this drug that we're trying to
Yeah.
sell that ultimately helps the patient.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
amazing.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean that that's we don't see who the patient is, just
Of course.
to take a side moment here. We don't see any of that, but we can see it through the data. right? It's up to the doctor and the office staff to
Yeah.
identify that patient and work with that patient. So there are those boundaries, those firewalls and everything that are built into that whole thing. But that's super exciting. We're
It is.
moving into personalized medicine, and this is just part of that as well,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I think that's a great way to think about how AI can help us achieve what all these companies are trying to achieve
Yeah,
in a more intelligent way. So
yeah.
great point, Lynn. I want to talk about a special topic. And the special topic for my female guests is, you know, as a woman in technology, in this industry, um, what are some of the things that you've seen over the years, 20 plus years in the space?
Yeah,
How have things changed? What are the good trends you're seeing? What are some I wish things could be different trends you're seeing? Um,
yeah,
and what are some thoughts you have on being a woman in tech?
yeah. I mean, I can just tell you when I first started in the industry, um, we had some women leaders at the VP level and everything, but it was male dominated. Um, and you know, things are starting to change quite a bit that way. It's not the same. So that's encouraging and wonderful to see, more women in the higher level positions. Um, I'm sorry, can you ask me again part of
Sure.
what you said?
So what are some of the trends over time you've seen for women in tech? Being a woman in tech yourself,
Yeah,
like what are some of the things you've seen over your career?
yeah,
Some positive changes and some areas where we still have some work to do for women in
yeah.
tech.
Well, for work, right?
Mhm.
One thing I've been doing, I've been mentoring some people and women. We have like a women mentoring program
Mhm.
in the company I was at, and I've been involved with it a lot, which is really good. But one of the I can tell you also, one thing is all of my best teams that I've ever worked on are an equal mix of men and women
Yes.
because everybody has something great to offer. My team has a nice mix right now. I'm actually going to be meeting with them right after this, so I'm very very excited to see. And it just makes your life easier. There's been teams that I've been like one or two of the only women on the project, and they've been wonderful too. But I just got to say, for because I've been in the industry long enough, the best ones have really been the
Yeah.
mixed
a-
ones.
Absolutely. And it goes to that representation, right?
Yeah,
If Yeah, a balanced team is always better than an imbalanced team, either direction, by the way.
yeah,
If it's too male dominated or too
yep,
female dominated,
yeah.
it comes with its own set of
Oh yeah.
challenges.
As much in tech anymore. Tech, of course, used to be more male dominated, but then there's the East Coast, West Coast phenomenon too. You could go way deeper into that too. So
Sure.
yeah.
All right, we're almost at the end of the conversation, but before I let you go, any book recommendations you have for our audience, either for generally for life sciences, for products, for anything that you recommend?
Hmm. Got to think about that one for a sec. Well, I'm going to just honestly say no, but what I can say is my customers have helped me with my products, and I listen to their needs, and that's really where I got a lot of influence that helped me out with the products.
Hmm.
Like 2 months ago, I was working with a customer, and just one of the things that they were asking for, or as we were going through the project together, they totally sparked a brand new feature that I'm really excited about. It's not out and about yet, but you know, yeah, can't say that I've read any books. I do read National Geographic about maps and things like that, and
Oh, I
look
mean,
at
of
that.
course
But
we do,
that's
Lynn.
not going to help any of your guys out there. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
We're all different types of learners, right? Like
yeah,
we are inspired in different ways. Some are visual learners, some are like, auditory learners. Depending on what mechanism works for you. My only message I always talk about is be a lifelong learner.
yeah,
Whatever that method is that works for you, there's no one right way. For
yeah,
me, I'm still a physical book person for
yeah.
reading. My kids will have 10 tabs open and they're like soaking up information on the internet. I do that, but I can read an article at a time, but I prefer a physical book if I'm like reading something.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
think you're going to inspire me to go pick up something. I haven't read anything for work in a while, but there's probably something good that's out there that's going to give me an idea, which was only going to help out my products. So
Yeah,
I
yeah, no,
appreciate that.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, Lynn, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you being
Oh, of course.
on and
Yeah,
for your insights. I'm so glad we've stayed in touch.
yeah,
And I'm really happy for you that you're in working on your dream product in a
yeah,
company where you're really enjoying yourself.
yes.
So kudos to you and to the culture there. I wish you the best, and I'm sure we'll stay in touch for a while.
Yes,
And to
thank
the
you so much
audience,
for
thank
having me.
you for listening. Oh, no, of course. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good one.
Thanks, Lynn.